So welcome everybody. I appreciate those who are coming from long distances and making great efforts to be here. Because I know it's not easy to come all the time, especially in this weather that will never go away this winter.
And changes 5 times a day.
Yeah. So we do a bit of housekeeping work here at the beginning of every presentation. Hello.
Hi, I'm Priyanka.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Same here.
We've talked on the phone many times.
That's my husband.
Yes, hi. So I am asking people to keep their distance from me because I'm on immune suppressant drugs from the recent transplant, and I have a cold from a staff member at the lab, so I'm going to keep my distance too. So I will not cross that table.
In the name tags.
What's that?
The name tags.
Oh yeah, name tags. Yeah. So we'll do a bit of introduction here. My name is Deb Angus. I'm the founder of this group, and I'm a traumatic brain injury survivor. I'm also an author, speaker, and advocate. I want to help raise awareness of concussions and traumatic brain injuries. I'm a former admin research assistant at the University of Calgary. I've worked for various departments over the years, altogether 30 years. And I was done there in 2015 when I went on sick leave because of the kidney stuff. And Josephine is the other lady who is helping me get this group set up. She actually spurred me on to do this because I've been wanting to do this for years. And she's more of a silent partner now with our group. She's a former healthcare nurse. And she's 2 years into her concussion and not finding it easy, and it's difficult for her as well too. So we do have a medical disclaimer posted here. The ideas, suggestions, and general principles and conclusions presented are subject to your personal health and sound medical advice. Every possibility is not presented, nor do we presume that all possibilities that we talk about here relate to your specific situation. This is an awareness group. It is not a substitute for recognized medical advice or treatment. Always consult your healthcare practitioner for medical advice. And we have group guidelines as well on confidentiality, respect, and participation. Thoughts, feelings, and experiences shared in this group will stay in this group. Respect others' rights to keep their information private. Accept and respect what is unique to each attendee in the group. Be respectful of other spirituality, religion, and belief systems, and allow others equal time for sharing. And if you prefer to remain silent and pass on sharing at any time, we normally have a sharing circle after the presentation. Please feel free to pass at any time. You don't have to discuss or share anything if you don't feel up to it. So this is our main presentation today, is coping strategies for concussion recovery. And this is going to be a multi-part session because we have a meeting in April and May, and that's probably going to take that many sessions to cover everything that I want to cover. So this is part 1, and I titled it Silencing the Inner Critic. And the reason why I do that is because in our society we're already immersed in a lot of negative thinking and a lot of negative self-talk. When you've had a concussion, that skyrockets up to 1,000%. And that's what we're busying ourselves with all the time is, oh, I'm not good enough, I can never do this, and I'm never going to be able to do that or do this or whatever. And this is these are some of the coping strategies that you can do, and they're all free and drug-free as well too, of things that you can try on your own to get away from all that. And this is one of the few pictures I have here that I come across. I'm always hunting for things. When we have a concussion and we try to lead our normal regular life and do regular things around the house and do our regular job, and we have families to take care of and we have household chores to take care of, and all of a sudden it's so overwhelming. And that's what this lady's dealing with, and she's got kids in the background there, and they're just leading their normal life, and they don't realize things are different now for mom because she's had a concussion. She's probably dealing with neurofatigue, noise sensitivity, light sensitivity, and just the fact that everything has changed. It's so overwhelming for her to just make sense of her world anymore. And so this is, again, a lot of people have children that they have to care for. A lot of people still try to go to work and they have to do their job and all their tasks. And even just a simple thing like going to a grocery store is so overwhelming. I know I couldn't for like 2 years. So any wonder we get cranky and a little upset because everything's so difficult all of a sudden. And pretending to be normal doing your best to act like you're okay day after day, week after week, month after month, it is so exhausting. And the people around us don't recognize this. We are fighting and working so hard to get on with our lives and make sure that we don't look like there's something wrong. I don't know why that happens, but people around us just don't understand. We don't even understand it ourselves. We're trying to make sense of it. And this is a big fact as well, too. We are not less now because we've had a brain injury. We are now different. Key point. Because I know I was thinking that for many years. I'm just
Some
not.
friends can't deal with the difference.
Yeah,
No.
and I can't I can't do this anymore, I can't do that. I was an avid biker on bicycles and stuff, couldn't do any of that anymore. And it's just like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And so that this is some of the negative self-talk we have to learn to shut off. Oh, wrong one. And this is what we always focus on, our weaknesses, when we have so many strengths. This is a key turning point with a lot of people who are dealing with concussive injuries. Because we're so focused on all the negative and we don't realize there's a lot of positive that we have to recognize in ourselves and in our lives. I really enjoyed this one too. You don't have to get back to who you were before your trauma. You can go forward to become someone really terrific afterwards. You won't be the same person. You won't be the same person. 100% recovery is never to be expected, especially if you've had multiple concussions and now you're dealing with mild or moderate or even severe traumatic brain injury. You'll never be that person you were before. So don't work so hard and worry so hard about getting back there. You have an evolution going on and you have a different person to be. You're going down a different road now. So we have a few points I want to cover here. There's positive affirmations, deep breathing, relaxation response technique, mindfulness meditations, loving kindness, and self-care. Now I know when I first came across all these terminologies, and I was doing this all on my own before I got to rehab or anything, and I laughed. How is this going to help? But once I took the time and I learned how to do this and I found the samples online and I even ordered CDs. This was back in 2001, 2002, and I ordered positive affirmation CDs that I would lay down and listen to under a headphone. I couldn't believe the difference it was making. It just calmed me down and it got me out of this stress load. And this is what I found recently too when I was in the hospital with all the overload that I was dealing with, the lights, the noise and everything like that. It had me up here. And I was frantic, and after about 5 or 6 days, I'm going, oh my God, I'm up here. This is normal life for a lot of people. This is where society keeps us. We're so frenetic and so frantic and so on the go all the time, go, 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 go. We think this is normal. And once you've had a concussion, it's even worse. And you're just like this all the time. We have to learn to bring it down here. And the more people say, bring it down a notch, I say, bring it down about 1,000 notches. And you want to get down here. This is a beautiful place to live and to practice day by day. You don't want to be up here and be frenetic and be rush, 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 and go here and go there, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and I can't say no to this and I can't say no to that. I got to just shut that all off and just bring it down here. And you go, I like this. So I had to relearn that again recently in my hospital stay. And so why one of the reduction techniques are so important, the relaxation techniques are so important, is to reduce stress. And when you've had a brain injury and you've been dealing with it for months or years on end, your stress level, again, you're getting into that frenetic territory, you're adding so much extra stress onto your body. And there's so many stress-related diseases you're opening yourself up to. And that's what we were explaining earlier. My kidney failure in 2013, my doctor is convinced was the result of all the stress I've been living with for, at that time, 12 years of living and working with a brain injury. So we will be talking about some of these things, not all of them. And this is why it's so important, because when the stress hormone is cortisol. So when you're up in that frenetic section there, and you think this is normal because this is how we were raised, this is the way our society is, and you find out that it's damaging to your overall health. Cortisol is a stress hormone. When you're under stress, you're in that fight or flight syndrome, and it releases cortisol in your system to try and get you to calm down. Too much cortisol constantly in your system, it thins your bones, is number one. And it just, weakens your immune system, and it leaves you open for all other illnesses and sicknesses that can come along years down the road. Because like I said, my injury happened in 2001. I wasn't diagnosed till 2003. My kidneys failed in 2013, so it took a long time, but it happens. So positive affirmations, we'll discuss that one first. They help to combat depression, low self-esteem, constant barrage of negative feelings, and negative self-talk. We experience all of these when healing our injured brain. Actually, like I said, in society, we experience these all the time. But once you've been injured and you're trying to function in a different world and different capabilities, it goes sky high. And this is one of the quotations I used in my book by Dr. Ammon. Every time you have a good thought, a happy thought, a hopeful thought, or a kind thought, your brain releases chemicals that calm the deep limbic system. The deep limbic brain is the caveman logic. Because when you get into a situation that you can't handle and you don't know how to calm yourself down, that just goes off and you just start panicking, and you become erratic. And you don't know how to make good decisions, and you don't want to be there. And it helps your body feel good too. Your body also reacts to your good thoughts. And it is true, you hear this a lot, thoughts do become things. So if you're thinking bad thoughts all the time, you're just attracting that to you, and you're not sending positive messages to your whole body that you want to get better. So there are many sources available online. There's guided meditations, positive affirmation sites, positive affirmation graphics. I was searching through a bunch of them before to get this presentation together. There's so many of them. You can find the ones that you like, save them onto your desktop and print them off and post them up all around your house or your workplace, whatever, and you come across that and you go, you'll come across some that just hit you. And if you come across ones that make you cry, definitely those are the ones you want to use. And positive thinking music. And this is, we'll be discussing the music aspect in the future sessions, because there's a whole big section to go into on that. But there's plenty of sites available on YouTube that you can find all kinds of positive energy music. Get into the 432 hertz music. Amazing, amazing. We'll discuss all that in our next session. There are also many apps available out there. Many are free, but check them all out. And they're not listed in any particular order here. But there's one called Happify, Positive Thinking, iMood Journal, and Smiling Mind. Be sure to check all those out. Find one that you are comfortable with, and they're also very helpful to have with you right on your phone everywhere you go. So here's some examples of some positive affirmations. I believe in myself and my abilities. These are messages that you repeat to yourself, and it just calms your whole body down, and it just resets your whole body for healing instead of being under stress all the time. And you're just not doing your body any good. There is always a way. I love myself unconditionally. It's a huge one. I am strong. My challenges bring me better opportunities. So these are examples of positive affirmations we could be repeating to ourselves throughout the day. I have abundant energy, vitality, and well-being. A lot of the pain that we are dealing with are really only thoughts. The biggest one I come across, a lot of people that say, a big red flag goes up for me when I hear anybody say, but it shouldn't be like this. It is what it is. You have to learn to move on from what it is and find a different way of living and get past that. And you can't be stuck on there and say, well, I was working on my master's degree and I should be here by now and I can't because I've... Shut that all off. Shut that all off. You're not being kind to yourself. Here's another one here too. Repeat after me. I have dealt with so many challenges and made it through it all. I am strong, kind, and freaking awesome. So these are the things you should be looking for. And you should be saying to yourself all the time, new balance is coming to my body now. And this is a really good one, not only just for your general health, but if you have balance issues. New balance is coming to my body now. You'll be learning balance stuff if you go to any of the rehab programs or anything, and if you go to vestibular retraining or anything like that, and they'll teach you things of how to deal with balance. But if you tell yourself messages like that, it's very powerful as well too. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. Very powerful messages. And this one's my favorite: healthy, vital, and strong. I say to that myself all day long, constantly. You think it shows?
Yes, it does.
So now we're into deep breathing. And this is just a very short explanation here, because you can find tons of information online. But the simplest one here, I really like this one here: breathing in relaxation, breathing out tension. And you can do a body scan. If your neck is a little tight, breathing in relaxation, breathing out the tension. So easy and simple to do. And another one is the 4-7-8 breathing practice. So what that is do belly breathing as well too, because I really see how they have their belly out here. When they breathe in, you breathe it down to your belly. And when you breathe out, you make sure that it comes out of the belly. Because this reaches the bottom levels of our lungs. Yeah, so make sure that you're utilizing your full lung capacity. And that oxygenates your blood, oxygenates your brain, gives you so much benefit from that, and it relaxes the whole body. So how 4-7-8 works, so simple. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you're breathing out, make a noise. So 4, inhale, 7, hold. And 8 to me seems like a lot, but it's really getting down deep and getting all that stale air out of there. So make sure you're oxygenating yourself. And now we're on to relaxation response technique. Now I discovered this by accident in the early 90s, well before the brain injury days. And when I went for rehab at Foothills, this is one of the things they were teaching me. And she walked me through a script, which I think we're doing here today. I'll have to check back there. I thought I had handouts for that. I think I do. She walked me through a script on that. She had me on a table, and I was fully supported with pillows and everything. And after she talked me through this script, I cannot move one muscle. And that was 2 years post-injury, and that was an indication of 2 years of fighting and the amount of stress I was under. And my body just couldn't move, because she had it totally relaxed walking me through that script. So I do have to get that print out there, sorry. Hope my presents will come through here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here it is here. So we do have handouts here, but I'm going to walk you through this script exercise here. It takes about 10 minutes. So everybody can get nice and relaxed. This is a guided automatic relaxation. So you can find several of them available online, and if you want to find other scripts as well, similar to this one from the same company, innerhealthstudio.com. And they have different ones on there. So I had fun, like I said, recording this myself, because this was in the early 2000s. A lot of this stuff wasn't available, but there's so much now available on YouTube. Just go help yourself and find some good ones. Now we're on to mindfulness meditations. Have anybody here heard about mindfulness?
Yeah.
Okay. It provides a new way of thinking and looking at the world. This is something totally foreign to North American societal values. And so it's a nice way of slowing down and realizing that there's more to life than running around all the time the way we do all the time. It's empowering and comforting for those with brain injury. It provides a new basis with which to explore this new world we now find ourselves. It also helps to keep focused on the here and now, not what used to be and not what might be. It helps to keep our minds uncluttered. Provides space for greater healing to take place in our body and in our brain. It helps to provide longer lasting peace, something we're all desperately seeking in this hectic, fast-paced world. Mindfulness meditation has been clinically shown to be effective for the management of stress, anxiety and panic, chronic pain, depression, obsessive thinking, strong emotional reactivity. Those are a few of the things that we're dealing with concussion, aren't we? Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, he's the doctor that developed the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program. It's a form of complementary medicine offered in over 200 U.S. hospitals, probably a lot more now. He's a very popular fellow. And he's written several books and audio CDs on mindfulness. There's a few titles there. They're easily available at the Calgary Public Library or on Amazon. And you can even find some of the audio stuff and that on YouTube as well, too. And he has a website there, mindfulnesscds.com. And now we're over to loving kindness. This was something new for me when I was into learning about mindfulness meditations, and then I came across loving kindness, and it is all one word like that. That's not a spelling mistake. This is based on the work, the pioneering work.
Sharon Salzberg.
Yeah. And she published this book in 1995, Loving Kindness, The Revolutionary Art of Happiness. Life-changing. Provides you with meditations and practices where you can learn to be more loving towards yourself. Your recovery greatly relies on learning to accept your new self. Has everybody heard about that? With concussion recovery, with brain injury, you have your old self, that's gone now, and you're learning to find out and live with this new self. So loving kindness is a great tool to learn about that. So here's a sample that we're going to do. Sitting quietly, bring your attention to your breathing, feeling relaxed, connected with feelings of kindness and friendliness, such as when a child takes your hand. And repeat softly to yourself with each exhale. Breathe in, exhale, may I be happy. Breathe in, exhale, may I be healthy. Breathe in, exhale, may I be peaceful. Breathe in, exhale, may I be safe. Now, it's so easy when we're dealing with a concussion that the limbic brain, the caveman logic, kicks in like that. When we get in a situation or something that we can't deal with, like for me it's strobe lights, and I just start panicking and I just want to run and get out of there and I'm just not thinking clearly. And so I even just yesterday went dealing with this cold and I want to make sure I get some good sleep and everything, and I'm panicking about things that are coming up and things I got to do and stuff, and I was laying there and I'm getting ready to have a nap and I started doing this loving kindness thing to myself, and I go, oh yeah. And I like that one, may I feel safe, because we are in a different environment. When you're dealing with a concussion, it's really difficult to just get on with life. And so being safe is a good one for a lot of people. And this is sample number 2. Take one hand and hold it gently on your heart as if you were holding a fragile human being, because you are. That one, when I first came across it, it almost made me cry. So now we're down to self-care. We're doing quite well time-wise, good. The importance of self-care. Self-care is care provided for you, by you. It is about identifying your own needs and taking steps to meet them. This is a foreign concept for a lot of people in North America, especially women, because we're the nurturers. We're so busy taking care of everybody else, we don't know how to take care of ourselves. It's like the concept on the airlines. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Take care of yourself first so you can take care of all those around you, especially if you have a family and kids that you got to deal with and everything. So this is that principle, is that you got to take care of yourself to make sure that you're well and you're able to function, or you're not going to be able to take care of other aspects of your life. So taking the time to do some of the activities that nurture you. taking proper care of yourself and treating yourself as kindly as you treat others. So here are some examples of self-care. Massage therapy, acupuncture, yoga, tai chi, walks in nature. And these are things that you might already be doing, but maybe don't do it on a regular practice, or it might be something you never heard of before. So these are things to explore and to go check them out and see what it's all about and see how, if it interests you, and see if it's something that could be useful for you. Walks in nature, reading TBI survivor books, that was a huge one for me, to read what other people are going through and how they're dealing with and how they went through their process of getting treatment and proper diagnosis and all that kind of stuff, and even just what they're living with on a day-by-day basis. It was huge for me to realize that this is happening to a lot of people. And back then in the early 2000s, a lot of us weren't getting the proper help. A lot of us now are, but still a lot of us aren't. Humor is a big one, aromatherapy, homeopathic remedies. You can either teach yourself how to deal with this and how to learn about this and how to do it for yourself, or you can go to a naturopathic doctor. There's a clinic over by Planet Organic, it's called Renewal Clinic, and they have homeopathic practitioners there, and they can go through and diagnose the best ones for you. Listening to positive affirmations, relaxation guided meditation, bathtub therapy. This is a huge one for me.
It's a great picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. So the most important thing for me for bathtub therapy, and it works for so many people, and I've commented on so many Facebook groups, is a bathtub full of water, and use whatever you want for bubbles, and a full cup of Epsom salts, and a few drops of essential oils. And I find a good combination is lavender and chamomile, especially if you're dealing with any neuropathy, any nerve pain, any muscle pain. The chamomile is really good for that. It's known as a nervine. It's very expensive for a tiny bottle. You're probably paying about $30, but you have to remember there's about 300 drops in there, and you're only putting 4 in the bathtub each time you use it. So, and the lavender is very good. It's very relaxing, very calming, relaxes muscles, relaxes your mind, and it's good for sleeping.
So is chamomile tea then?
Yeah. You can even get these bathtub herbal bags, and I had a few of them that had mixtures in there with chamomile and stuff like that. And I remember when I first came across chamomile tea, must have been in the 80s, and I hated it. I hate the smell of it. It was too weedy. I thought it was weedy, and I couldn't get past it. But then when I saw the relaxation, the effects. Our office ran out of coffee one day, so one of the gals made up a pot of chamomile tea, and I walked in because my office was across the hall, and everybody was nattering away and chatting away and blah blah blah, and I walked in and it was totally silent, and I go, what's going on? And she giggled. She said, we ran out of coffee, so I made them a pot of chamomile tea. So that's when I decided I'm gonna give it a second chance and start using it. And it really does make a difference.
Now you love it, right?
Yeah. And now spiritual reading, I used to do this when I would combine both of them. When I used to do my soaks in the tub every morning for 7 years. Because either I wasn't getting a good night's sleep and I was dealing with a lot of nerve pain on the left side, especially in the leg. And to get myself ready and boosted for the work day, and I would soak in the tub for 40 minutes with my Epsom salts and essential oils, and I would do my spiritual reading that morning. And I had this book, and I would read it, and it was, I forget the name of it now, but it was a combination of New Age thinking and scriptures, and it wasn't a religious book per se, but it was just an open-mindedness type of book, and I would read. They had different readings for every day, and I would just read each one until one made me cry. And I would stop and think about that and reread it again, and it was one that stayed with me for the whole day. And I said, okay, I'm ready to get out and face the world today. Shiatsu massage is another good one. I came across books on this one, and it's a massage technique developed in Japan, and there's pressure points you could do, and you do this to yourself. And it's a wonderful science. I just loved it. I fell in love with it. I found it made a huge difference. Reflexology, eating good nutritional diet is a huge one for a lot of people. So no junk food, no fried foods, all that kind of stuff, potato chips, cookies, pastries, and stuff like that. You're not doing your body or your brain any good. You need these good fresh foods to get good nutrition to your body and to your brain. Avoiding alcohol. Anyone who's been here before or seen my other presentations, that's a huge one when you're dealing with concussions and brain injuries. Alcohol is no longer your friend. It's no longer a part of your life. It's not helping your brain at all. Journaling is a good way to deal with a lot of emotions and uncertainty of living this new journey. Strength training, I used to have little, I think they were 5-pound dumbbells, and they were just good because I had weakness in the left side, so I would do those, and it just helped. It wasn't anything major, and I found these strength training books, and I would just do things, and it was, at least I was doing something, is how I felt. Swimming, hot tub, and sauna, I can't do one without doing all the other ones. Listening to brainwave music, I mentioned that one earlier, and we'll talk about that more in our April meeting. And there's several brain training software programs out there. At that time, I had a Nintendo DS unit, and it had Brain Age software. This was back in 2004, I think it was, and I got that one, and I used to practice that every day. Improving sleep hygiene, that's another thing we'll talk about in future meetings. If you're not familiar with that one, you could start Googling it and look it up, but we will discuss that one in the upcoming meeting. And exploring new hobbies like birding, gardening, photography, woodworking, anything like that. Geocaching, there's a lot of people I see out there doing that.
What is it?
Geocaching.
Geocaching.
People have a GPS unit. It's popular all around the world, and somehow they have a map or something, and people have coordinates they have to follow, and they have to find these little boxes. They have little gifts and stuff in there, so you take one and put one in there. And it's like a hobby that people go around and do all these. It's like exploring, and I seen a lady last summer and the summer before doing that in Kid Fed Park. Okay, yeah, there's brain and sleep hygiene, a big thing too. More examples of self-care. Meeting friends for lunch, attending a class to learn something new. It's a huge one because that's good for your self-esteem and a good way of learning something new. Buying yourself a special gift. It doesn't have to be anything expensive or extravagant. It could be a simple, nice candle for your bathtub time. Spa treatments if you want to treat yourself, and hair appointments, watching comedy movies. Humor heals. I watch nothing but comedies, always. Make room in your life for naps and rest and recharge. And these are more things that you can be doing for self-care. There's physical self-care, lifestyle, mental, emotional, people support. It's important to have that one, and spiritual self-care. And there is a handout back there. It's printed in black and white because of the color resolution here. Some of it looks a bit fuzzy, but you can still make out what it is. So there's a lot more suggestions in there too, things that you can explore and look into. And parting thoughts, your happiness is up to you. It's in your daily thoughts and actions, because thoughts do become things. So this positive affirmations is very powerful. For further information, there are some brain injury sites out there you can check. The best one I like here is the one in yellow, Brain Injury Resource Center Toolkit. It's down in Seattle, Washington. Pages and pages and pages of information in there. And one of the things I came across was this toolkit, and they had something in there about goal setting. And once I came across that and started setting goals about what I want to do, I wanted to do other things other than just survive and get through day by day by day. There's other things I wanted to explore in my life. And that just got me off and running.
Is this written down somewhere?
Nope, but it will be posted on the video. I will post these up on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel in the next few days. Yeah. But yeah, if there's any ones that you want there, you can write them down. I could post up that slide on the Facebook page too, if you like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Love Your Brain Foundation. This is organized by a young fellow down in the States, and he's really big up on yoga for brain injury recovery. I think he's a spokesman now for Lululemon. And so his website's wonderful to explore and check out. We good? There's support groups as well for concussion. Most of them are on Facebook. There are 2 other ones here in Calgary. I'll bring them up here on another presentation. I didn't think to put them in this presentation, but I found out there were 2 other concussion groups that started up after I started up. They're more support groups, but I've been in contact with both the ladies. We met for tea and discussed what we do, and it's kind of interesting. I have video conferencing with one of them. She's out in Cochrane. We couldn't get together, so we said, well, let's just do a video conference. So that's pretty cool. So these are the other 2 local concussion group meetings that we were talking about. I decided to post a slide up here. One group is called Concussion Life, and they have a website there, concussionlife.org. Then the second one is Concussion Info and Support Group, and it's a meetup group, so they have their link there. I can't make the links hyperactive here in the presentation, but I did post a slide on our Facebook page, and the links are posted down in the comments section. That was posted on the evening of March 30th on our Facebook page. And then our group, Calgary Concussion Awareness and Support, and there's a link as well there to our Facebook page, but if you're on our Facebook page, you know already how to find us. Thank you. And there's also, I'm a big book reader. There's books that you can read about concussion. The Ghost in My Brain is a really popular one right now. He's a young professor down in the States working at a university and still going to work every day and trying to deal with the effects of concussion on his life. Unbelievable, some of the stuff he went through. Unbelievable. And I'm shaking my head because I kept working, but his seemed even worse. Well, he was still trying to drive. Head Games is an interesting one. Chris Nowinski, he's down in the States. I guess he's a former football person, but he's running a big concussion information group down in the States, and he's a well-known expert down there now. And he's on Twitter. A lot of people following them. These are my 2 favorite books. If you want to do yourself a huge favor about learning different ways of thinking and leading your life, these 2 books I highly recommend. They both changed my life and my way of thinking. Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. I'm a scientific person anyways, and I love biology, and he explains it so eloquently of how we think about things and how it affects every cell of our body. And once I realized and put that connection together, I said, well, that's why this loving kindness stuff works, and that's why this relaxation response technique stuff works. And it just gave me much more power and energy to start realizing how powerful our thoughts really are. And this is an extra avenue we can explore for our health and general well-being. Just loved it, loved it. And The Brain That Changes Itself is written by Norman Doidge. He's a Canadian doctor. And that one also changed the way I think. And it says here, stories of personal triumph from the frontiers of brain science. It was quite interesting. He also has a second book out called The Brain That Heals Itself, but I didn't find it as interesting as this one. Oh, our music is back. There's also support groups for traumatic brain injury, so I separated them because concussion is one thing and TBI is another thing. And anybody who's been here before or viewed any of our prior videos, there is a slide up there about the concussion as part of the TBI continuum. And so if you're not familiar with that one, just let me know. I can post that one back up on the page too. I think it is on there somewhere. TBI continuum. So it's very important to realize where concussion is on this graphic. I might even be able to bring it up in here. I must have it on there somewhere. And mild traumatic brain injury awareness, I put that one in orange because that's the page I run. And these are books on TBI and MTBI, and they're all very good. Coping with Concussion and Mild Traumatic Brain Injury, Diane Stoller, she's a doctor, and it was published in 1998. I think she's got an updated version up there now, and I've recently been communicating with her. She's the first book I ever read to realize what this injury was and how it affects us. And it was just, to me, that was the book that confirmed to me there's something wrong here and I need this testing to prove it and how to move on with my life. So that was a key book for me. Brain Lash by Gail Denton. She's a doctor who wrote the foreword to my book, so I quite enjoyed her book. I didn't come across it till 2009, and she actually made me laugh in quite a few of the sections. I said, I gotta read this lady someday. So I haven't managed to do that, but we have communicated, and she did write the foreword for my book. Head Cases is another good book. It's just understanding brain injury and how it affects people and how it affects family. And he's a brain injury caseworker, so it's quite interesting, this Michael Paul Mason. Brain Injury Survival Kit by Cheryl Sullivan. She's a doctor, and she wrote this book after her own concussion, but also her mother and her father dealing with it as well too, so she came up with this toolkit. Mindstorms is a Dr. Cassidy, and it's a complete guide for families living with traumatic brain injury. And then there's the book that I wrote and published as well too, Regaining Consciousness. It's available at the public library, and I do have some books back there. Sometimes I forget them, but I did bring some today. So we do have an upcoming meeting scheduled for April 26th, and we'll be doing more coping techniques, part 2. And we do have flyers back there for our next meeting. Please be sure to pick up a few flyers so you can pass along to others who may be interested in learning more about concussions. And if you prefer to receive a flyer electronically, please be sure to add your name and email address to the sign-up list back there. And please also, if you'd like to, drop by our Facebook page and visit and like our page so you can keep updated on meetings, pertinent articles, and information, because I do post things up there periodically, and I don't always cover them here in our meetings. It's just that stuff I've come across, and I said, oh, this is interesting, our group might like that one. So that's the end of that. So does anybody have any questions or comments, or we want to get right into our sharing circle?